Mr. George, you see, being at the winning side obviously comes with excitement, but you made a statement earlier that this is a victory that gets you to be reflective and think about what to do differently. These are the sins of the administration that you have defeated so heavily. How does this victory really get to you?
Well, Alfred, before I go into that, let me, in my introductory comments, I made reference to the work I did across the country in about 30 constituencies, largely with Dangwe communities. Let me say thank you officially to them in our mother tongue. Cheme nyeme nyamime Dangwe form being ngegana makla ike muneno ingenye de manyeba ne ingenye sinam saminya ka nyena ka nyebu wotwe na wabananye ne wake wagbefonye hemio nyebu wotwe saminya na nyefonso ka ha ajovia party ne muneno kuni yempe wano ke chapinye ne nyefin wasio dina wakuni yemio eko bele kambineba ke jenugo ke gbubla mame ke adangwe mame kla se osudoku klo adan ke wa dangwe zuban kla ke dangwe bi nenge hefen asin central asin north hefen western region eastern region sinamagbojinye no maune jonye saminya de maune petewaye ninge hem kayem ka ndc yo ma yewo na ema dibo bebine wahuno yomo angbewa ikefosi maune jonye nyechumka
Ochum openo. Let's proceed.
And
now.
to the issue of the victory, like I said, it's euphoric. I mean, since 1996, when
we have nothing on me, so please give us a summary of what you said.
Oh, he was just thanking the chiefs and people in the Dangbe lands for their support, essentially,
Okay.
to the victory
Thank
of
you.
the NDC. That's
The
in summary.
translation.
I didn't ask them to meet you and lynch you.
They didn't affect me.
Okay,
The message wasn't for you, it was for the Dangwe people.
right. Okay.
But the victory is euphoric. I mean, since 1996, when we've had both parties compete for parliament, nobody has had this level of majority. Nobody's had 2/3. At our last count, we have 188 seats. 2/3 of 276 seats in parliament is 184. And so the NDC truly, for the first time, is in a comfortable lead. However, where I see it, this has put me in a very reflective mood and has really humbled me. Because it's humbled me to realize that the Ghanaian people may be slow to anger, but when they rise in righteous indignation, no force in this world can stand before them. Listening to President Akufo-Addo on Monday call John Mahama his friend of over 20 years made me realize that the die was cast and that President Akufo-Addo had seen his smoothness level. When President Mahama was campaigning and came to my constituency in Ingo Pram, he said he wasn't going to debate. He made a statement that he was never going to debate Baumia because he knows his level. Akufo-Addo has seen his level. You know, the arrogance and the haughty pomposity with which he said he will not hand over to to John Mahama. I can never hand over to him. But, well, now you are going to hand over to him. Go and drink the Kole. You would hand over to John Mahama. Because that's the power of the Ghanaian people. But like I said, it humbles me to know that the people who have humbled and given Akufo-Addo a lesson in humility, in 4 years will go back to the polls again. And so President Mahama and all of his appointees and all of us in government,
Including your good self.
yes, that's why I said all of us, myself included, would need to learn that we hold and wield power in trust for the Ghanaian people. And that ultimate power rests with the Ghanaian people. You know? And to whom much is given, much is expected. The level of expectation that Ghanaians have placed on us. And I was speaking with a few senior clergymen who we've worked with in the lead up to this election. You know, I've organized a number of meetings of the clergy with President Mahama.
Not Nyansafwe, Moahi.
Well, I won't go there.
Yeah, but once you get there, tell President to sign the LGBT.
It's up to him.
Mr. George, proceed.
It's up to him to sign or not
Gentlemen,
to sign.
please.
He brought us into it, so...
Mr. George, proceed.
And some of the clergymen, I said to them, I said, look, the prayers and counsel that was given to President Mahama in the lead up to the election were the prologue. The main movie is now going to start. They even need to counsel him more and pray more for him because the weight of expectation on his shoulders, only God can guide him to lead this country right. You know why? You're coming from a place where the mess is colossal. The damage is gargantuan. The rot. I mean, when you say it in English, it doesn't cover it well. But you know, when they say it in Chi, Katashishe, Proye, Jrim, ni Kankain. Where we are coming from. Look, this nation, the Flagstaff House, stinks to the high heavens with corruption. And the weight of expectation from the young people of Ghana, the middle class, the elderly, on the shoulders of this man from Bolly Bamboy. And I can call him a young man when you compare his age to Akufo-Addo's age. He's a young man. The weight of expectations upon his shoulder. Only God can guide him. And that's been my daily prayer for him this week. That God will give him the wisdom and the knowledge to know the right people to put in office. And that he himself will show the kind of leadership that the Ghanaian people expect. To everyone who will find themselves in his government, you must learn humility. If you don't have it, go and start learning it. Because we would serve the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana will not serve us. And so look, I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night with trepidation. Because when you understand the weight of expectation, and you look at the fact that the purse is empty. Look, Professor Jampo, Martin Pebu have accused governments in the past of stealing from the purse. The Akufo-Addo government did not steal from the purse. They stole the purse.
But you see, we had
And
this,
so now-
we had this in 2016, that the meat was down to the bone. And we're hearing this now. Some have recommended that for
there was
the
nothing in the
Ghanaian
place.
people to believe this. Carry us every step of the way through the transition.
Absolutely.
Let us see it, telecast it live, so we know what you'll be talking about in those small rooms.
You know, Alfred, you know, when they said the meat was down to the bone, yes, but no government, the Akufo-Addo government did not have to, within 18 months of taking over office, pay out over 18 billion in outstanding domestic debts that have been pushed and fast-forwarded to 2026. They did not have to pay in 4 years $4 billion to external creditors, as we would have to do in 2028. Look, the payments, most of the loans that Ken Ofori-Atta took and benefited from personally through his enterprise group. Data bank. Many of them are due, most of the local ones are due in 2026. That's why President Mahama has written to the IMF and said, look, you've signed a contract or entered a program in with Akufo-Addo. You've disbursed 2/3 of the money already. Meanwhile, you've just done half of the process. And we've got over 18 billion to pay in 2026 and over $4 billion to pay to external creditors. Don't forget that the MPP for the past almost 24 months has not serviced a single foreign debt. And all of that is sitting on our books, accruing interest.
Yes.
John Mahama is coming to carry that burden. And so I agree with you that the next NDC administration, I believe that government must have a ministry not of information, not just of information, but a ministry of information and public engagements, where we will constantly carry the people of Ghana along, letting them understand what the status and what the issues are. Let them understand where we are as a country. How much revenue have we? Look, and I'm going to share with you. Yesterday, a woman came all the way to Ningo. Yesterday, I started my thank you tour. From here, I'm going to continue today. A woman came to me yesterday with evidence And my heart broke down. I told her I would speak about it here today. She works at an axle weight station, axle load station. And I want you to please listen to me. She does not work at a start point or an end point. She works at an axle load station midway in the country. In November this year, she was sacked from office, from post, and told to go home that they can't work with her. You know why? In 2023, her axle weight station, at that time, the person who was managing it was called David Kwashi. And I'm putting out the facts. In January 2023, that axle load station generated 235,266 Ghana cedis. In February, 175,005 Ghana cedis. In March, 323,214 Ghana cedis. And I can give you the whole year. The highest was in December, where it recorded 608,159 Ghana cedis. This was 2023. In 2024, a gentleman called Katako Castro took over. In January, he recorded 365,697 Ghana cedis. In February 2024, 498,808 Ghana cedis. And then in March, from 1st of March to 12th March, he recorded 351,256. Then this lady takes over. This lady, I don't want to put out her name yet. She takes over in March, on the 13th of March. From 13th of March to 31st March, her revenue she generates is 1,266,847. By the time she works in the whole of April, she generates 3,140,831. In May, it drops to 2,140,531. June, 2,018,731. July, 2,653,622. August, 2,908,178. In September, 3,251,256. October, 3,758,378. Between 1st November to 10th November, 1,365,524. Do you realize what was happening? At the average rate of revenue from that axle weight station was 250,000. As soon as this lady takes over, her average is 3 million Ghana cedis. She was called by the Highways Authority and told that she was raising too much revenue because there's a cartel that drains the money that is raised and declares only average of 250,000 every month. One axle weight station. This is one. And so imagine that these vehicles have gone through a number of axle weight loading stations across the country before they get to her place. And from her place, they continue. And this is what the revenue loss is. Because there are people sitting at highways. And the matter went to Asensu Boache. He said he was going to investigate. Because when he saw the figures, look, there is no way you will see these figures and not understand what is happening. Then she was told to go home because she's NDC.
Oh.
Yes. So these are the kinds of slippages and leak in our system that we need to collectively work as a country to plug. One axle load station.
And she was laid off.
Oh, she's been sent home. Since 10th of November, she's been sacked from the Highways Authority. And I would wage a campaign and a war to ensure that this woman is reinstated. Because these are the kind of Ghanaians we must celebrate. In fact, she reported to the BNI in June this year, that her life is under risk because she was told that she must not exceed 1 million again. And when she was given that order, she started getting 3 million. And now they've sacked her. The BNI could not protect her. Under Akufo-Addo. I'm talking about 2024. I have the names of the people who were behind this. But you see, like I said, Operation Recover All Loot, Oram, will come after all of them. From the people at Highways Authority who are involved in the scam and the stealing of axle load. So imagine if you had 10 axle weighing stations across the country and they are making revenue of at least 3 million Ghana cedis in one station and they are declaring 250,000 every month. Some people are sitting back and gleaning 2.5 million, 2.75 million from one axle station. Over 10 axle stations, that's 27.5 million Ghana cedis every month. This is what we are bleeding as a country. So when Akufo-Addo said Ghana yenye here mine, it's true. Yenye here mine. But we have people who have turned themselves into Draculas, drinking the blood and toil of Ghanaians. This is pure fact. The lady came to me, she was crying yesterday. Crying. She said, look, my life is at risk. She can't live in her house. They are threatening to kill her. A woman. Even now.
She's been laid off?
Yes. So you see, this is the weight of cleanup that John Mahama has to do. And that is why you cannot entertain such thievery and such corruption under the next Mahama administration. We would out and fight anybody. Look, and President Mahama has a track record when it comes to fighting corruption. You may accuse his government of corruption. But President Mahama had, and I worked under that administration, he had a sunshine campaign. And you see, I'm sure that today, many of our civil society friends have seen the difference between President Mahama and Akufo-Addo. We called President Mahama corrupt because we're hearing of the corruption, because he was fighting it. President Mahama sacked Victoria Hammer because she had an intention. She was caught on tape with an intention of making $1 million. She didn't make it. An intention. He kicked her out of his government. President Mahama caused his bosom friend and colleague in parliament to be investigated and jailed for lack of oversight. Abu Gapele. Yes, Abu Gapele was not the one who signed the contract. But he was overseeing the agency that signed the contract. He was jailed. That's President Mahama. Meanwhile, they used Jida. As Lauso and Co, they sat on media houses and sang with Jida to kick us out of government. Meanwhile, it was President Mahama's investigation. When Brazil happened, President Mahama asked a revered judge of the Court of Appeal, who again, by the way, has been punished by the Akufo-Addo administration, Justice Senyo Jamefe, punished and overlooked for promotion, because they think that he is not going to play the partisan politicking that goes on at the apex court of our land.
He's the senior most.
They have jumped over him with several people. They've left him at the Court of Appeal. Justice Senyo Jamefe did a national investigation which was telecast on the Brazil scandal. Elvis Free was moved out of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. When the bus branding issue happened, and it came out at Public Accounts Committee, President Mahama caused Julius Debra as Chief of Staff to retrieve the monies that were paid in excess to the company. That's President Mahama's track record. And caused the late Jifa Ativo to resign. That's his track record. He did not write her a letter calling her my dear Jifa Ativo. As you see Akufo-Addo with Cecilia Dapa.
So the corruption happened, but then
he fought it. When we got wind, again, let me give you another example. When we got wind in the Flagstaff House that there was something fishy going on at National Service Secretariat, he asked the BNI to investigate it, including the director of National Service Secretariat, and 144 others were prosecuted under President Mahama. Monies were retrieved, people were sent to jail. What have you seen under President Akufo-Addo? The same National Service Secretariat. People are wearing $300,000 wristwatches, sitting there as public servants at National Service Secretariat. Richard Mill, $350,000 wristwatches. Why are they able to afford that? Because every month they have created 40,000 ghost names and are making 27.5 million Ghana cedis.
You're talking about the Fourth Estate
Absolutely. And what did you see President Akufo-Addo? Shield them. They actually went to court and got their cronies in the judiciary to look. We need a proper cleanup of this country. From the judiciary to the security services, President Mahama must purge the judiciary of partisanship. Those who sit in the high courts, in the courts of appeal, and in the Supreme Court, who are playing partisan politics, must be taken off for them to either go and contest as national women organizers or national organizers of the NPP. They have no business in our judiciary. Today, the ordinary Ghanaian does not believe that the judiciary of Ghana can give them justice. And the judiciary is supposed to be the last bastion of hope for the ordinary Ghanaian. Our security services have become so partisan, that you've had to see the security services for the first time vote against their commander-in-chief. President Akufo-Addo lost in every polling station in Bema Camp.
You have that data?
Oh, yes. All the results from Bema Camp, except one. And there were about 33 polling stations there. They voted. Look, this vote is not just a vote against Bawumia. It's a referendum on Akufo-Addo's governance, of which Bawumia is part of.
Yes. Article 76.
You understand?
Part of the cabinet.
So you can't run. That's why I said that, look, the burden on Mahama. You need to clean our civil service. Because you have people, this rot at Highways Authority. It's civil servants.
It's not politicians, essentially.
Look, you see, I've worked as a civil servant before. I worked at the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations and the Ministry of Water Resources before I got into active politics. Yes. And I have a fair understanding. Some of the civil servants are the ones who actually lead the corruption into the hands of the ministers. Because they are making 27.5 million on the average every month from about 10 axle weight stations. They find some 1 million and go and give to the minister. He thinks he's excited. And he doesn't look at what is going on there.
That's all.
We need to clean this country. This country needs... Look, the young people of our country are angry. One, we need to clean. Two, we need to recover every single thing that has been stolen. Look, and those people who think that they are... And I can tell you on authority, I said this yesterday on another platform where I was with Honorable Andy Apiakubi. We know those who are moving money out of the country.
People are moving money out of the country.
Moving money to the Isle of Man. I'm stating locations. Isle of Man. To Mauritius. To the Canary Islands. To Guyana.
Hey, Guyana.
We know them, and they are moving money.
Look,
even last week, one of them called a remittance person and said, look, a person who does remittances look, I need to move 5 million. How can you move it? US dollars. Yes. Look, you can't live to enjoy that money.
Operation Recover.
You will not enjoy that money. And I'm glad that, you see, people said they don't know what came over President Mahama when he came to my constituency during his nationwide tour. When he came to my constituency, that day, he dropped a lot of bombs. That's the day he told Baumia he won't debate him because he knows his level. Yeah. That same day, for the first time, and that was the only time in 276 constituencies, President Mahama mentioned names of people who have questions to answer. Let your crew take the tape. He did 3 places in my constituency. He did Ningo, did Pram Pram, and Afia. Your crew was there. They should give you the clip from Pram Pram. You will hear President Mahama. He said, President Akufo-Addo, for 8 years, I have been a former president. I lived in Ghana. I didn't live outside the country. So if there was any prosecution or any questions you had to ask of me, I was here. Yeah. You will not go and live in the south of France.
Thank you. Thank you.
That mansion that has been built in the south of France will remain uninhabited. President Akufo-Addo must stay in Ghana to answer questions. President Mahama went ahead to mention gov't as someone who needs to answer questions.
Absolutely.
Mention Ken Ofori-Atta as someone who needs to answer questions. Mention the one who suffered stroke in the UN. Asante Bediatu. Yes. I said, take the clip from my constituency, Pram Pram, and play it. Let your production go to President Mahama's visit to Pram Pram, to my constituency. Not the first location in Ningo, the second place in Pram Pram. When it was raining, he mentioned the names. These people have questions, and not just them. Others will have questions to answer. You ask yourself, why today the board chairman of ECG, who doubles as the leader of the mini minority in parliament, is seeking to pay a company of almost 270 million Ghana cedis in this last minute?
Well, the information minister says works have been done and certain financial clearance has been given.
The rates are too high.
And so they have to honor the payments. It is not because there's been a change in government.
Those payments have been pending for months. They didn't pay. They want to pay today. Look, if you understand the level of graft and rot, that's why I said others have dipped their hands in the purse. This government has stolen the purse. And it must be a collective work across the nation, civil society, other political movements, and government. We must clean up our country. Because if we don't, and you know why I say I'm humbled?
Yeah.
The people of our country, the young people who went out to vote especially. And do you see the strength of the young people standing up to the military?
Yeah.
Standing up to police, looking them in the face and staring them down. Yes. In fact, in one instance, a young man held 2 soldiers who were armed and beat them together.
Sam, can you give me a little second before you continue? On the police, Alfred, just a quick one. You see, once you mentioned the police, there could have been some of the incidents that we witnessed. But on this occasion, I think Ghanaians must stand up to Dampare. The arrangement he made that the National Security Task Force for Election was not going to allow the military to step in except for his command. And he insisted on that. And I'm also happy that the military high command cooperated with him. I am telling you that little bit of arrangement, because I had a lot of personal concern. And Dampare kept assuring us that, don't worry, we will do what we have promised. So if you mention the police, Dr. Dampare, Unia, Why are they?
Except we also have many things.
So yes, he may have.
The police service is in turmoil.
This one, yes.
The service
So,
is in
let
turmoil.
me
They are
land.
very
Okay,
angry.
okay.
Let me
Police
land.
officers are very angry.
We would need to get to that place where we understand that the young people of our country stared down the barrels of guns to defend this democracy. If the NDC, God forbid, touch wood, fail to meet the expectations of the young people,
Serious trouble.
our democracy is threatened.
There will be serious problem.
Dr. Jampo has said this a
And
couple of
so,
times.
the survival of our democracy, the survival of the Fourth Republic, rests heavy on the actions of John Dramani Mahama as president.
Absolutely.
And his appointees.
Yes.
No,
Else our people will lose hope
Yes.
in this democratic exercise. And that is why we cannot chill. And let me state emphatically, because, yesterday, whilst I was walking into the studios of another station, I met Dennis Miracles Abuaji.
Oh.
And, we joked and we laughed. And people are trying to misconstrue that. Look, I keep telling people, vengeance is a dish best served ice cold. and like it said in Shakespeare's Macbeth, there is no art to find a mind's construction in the face. So the fact that you see somebody smiling with somebody does not mean that, look, I am a victim of Ayaraso West Wagon.
Yeah.
I have been tagged over 100 times in the last 48 hours with people asking me to seek vengeance. My response is simple. Vengeance is of the Lord.
Yes.
But I am a son of the Lord. And sons inherit their father.
Hallelujah.
I leave it there.
Hallelujah.
Well, Samuel Ate George.
Praise the Lord.
It's Member of Parliament for the Ningo Prampa constituency. Thank you.